The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with 100 different languages, translated instantly through neural implants. Briar stood at the center of the circular floor, his simple brown jumpsuit a stark contrast to the elaborate uniforms and biomechanical enhancements worn by representatives from across known space. The human proposes what? The Kralix ambassador's mandibles clicked in what could only be described as amusement. Its crystalline eyes reflected the station's cold light as it gestured at Briar with 3 of its 6 limbs. A wildlife sanctuary, Briar repeated calmly, his hands clasped behind his back. On threshold station. For the captured specimens. Laughter rippled through the assembly. The Vortian delegate, a being of pure energy contained in a magnetic field, pulsed with colors that Briar's implant translated as mockery. Humans and their sentiment, it said. These are not wildlife. They are specimens. Test subjects. Resources. Anally IA watched from the observation deck above, her fingers gripping the railing until her knuckles turned white. She'd warned Briar this would happen. The galaxy didn't understand humanity's strange attachment to creatures that served no economic or strategic purpose. They saw kindness as weakness, compassion as foolishness. With respect, Briar continued, his voice steady. These beings were taken from their worlds without consent. They suffer in those labs. Some are sentient. All feel pain. The human speaks of suffering, the Kralix said, turning to address the other delegates. His species fought wars over the proper treatment of non-sentient beasts on their own world. They formed bonds with predators, kept them in their dwellings, wept when they died. More laughter. They are soft. This is why they will never be more than junior members of this council. Briar's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. The vote was called. The sanctuary proposal was rejected, 847 to 1. Only Earth voted in favor. Anally IA met him outside the chamber. I'm sorry, Bri. He shook his head. It's not over. I got permission to visit the holding cells, to observe the specimens for my research. A bitter smile crossed his face. At least they granted me that. The holding facility was located in Threshold Station's lower rings, where gravity was lighter and the lights dimmer. The air smelled of ozone and something organic, something afraid. Rows upon rows of containment fields held creatures from 1,000 worlds. Some paced, some cowered. Some had given up entirely, lying motionless in their cells. Briar walked slowly down the corridor, Anally beside him. He stopped at each cell, reading the designation plates. Specimen 4471, Apex Predator, Class 9 Death World. Specimen 5692, Hive Queen, Sapience Disputed. Specimen 7834, Unknown Classification, Aggressive. They don't even have names, Anally IA whispered at the end of the row. Briar found what he was looking for. The cell's designation read, Specimen 8291, Zarathian Night Stalker. Homeworld, Zerati's Prime. Status, condemned for laboratory vivisection, scheduled in 3 cycles. The creature inside was massive, easily 4 meters long, with obsidian scales that seemed to absorb light. 6 legs ended in curved talons. Its eyes, all 8 of them, glowed a deep amber in the darkness. The species files classified it as one of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. 43 researchers had died trying to study its kind. Briar approached the containment field. The Night Stalker's head snapped toward him, lips curling back to reveal rows of serrated teeth. Hey there, Briar said softly. You're far from home, aren't you? Briar, be careful, Anally IA warned. But he was already deactivating the food slot in the containment field, a small opening designed for remote feeding. From his pack, Briar pulled out a ration bar. Not the synthetic protein cubes the facility provided, but actual food, meat he'd purchased from the station's market. He broke it into pieces and pushed them through the slot. The Night Stalker stared at the offering, then at Briar. It didn't move. I know, Briar said. I know you don't trust us. I don't blame you. He sat down, cross-legged, on the floor outside the cell. But someone should care. Someone should see you as more than a number. Anally I thought he'd lost his mind. But she sat beside him anyway. They came back the next day. And the next. Each time, Briar brought food, different kinds, trying to determine what the creature liked. He spoke to it in gentle tones, about Earth, about the forests and oceans of his homeworld. He told it stories about humans who'd befriended wolves, who'd swum with sharks, who'd earned the trust of creatures everyone said couldn't be tamed on the fourth day. The Night Stalker ate from his hand on the seventh day. It pressed its massive head against the containment field when Briar arrived, a sound rumbling from its chest that the translator couldn't interpret, but that Analii recognized as contentment. The facility director found them on the 10th day. "What do you think you're doing?" he demanded. A Galonian, all bureaucratic efficiency and cold logic. "Building trust," Briar said simply. "It's scheduled for dissection tomorrow. You're wasting your time. Then let me have today." The director sneered and walked away. That night, Threshold Station's security alarm screamed. A fire in the medical wing, suspected sabotage. In the chaos, someone triggered a massive power fluctuation. Containment fields across the holding facility failed for exactly 47 seconds. 47 seconds of freedom. Most of the creatures fled through the station's ventilation systems or hid in the cargo base. Security teams were dispatched. Panic spread. But the Night Stalker did something no one expected. IT went looking for Briar. Analia was with him when it happened. When the massive predator rounded the corner of the residential corridor, its claws scarring the metal floor. People screamed. Security raised their weapons, but the Night Stalker walked past them all. It approached Briar slowly, deliberately, and sat right beside him. Its amber eyes swept the corridor, teeth bared at anyone who dared come closer. "Stand down," Briar said to the security team, his hand resting on the creature's scaled head. "Nobody needs to get hurt." The standoff lasted 3 hours. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Finally, it was the Kralix ambassador who broke the silence on the open channel. "The human has done something we deemed impossible," it said, its voice lacking its earlier mockery. "Perhaps we have underestimated the value of kindness." The council voted again, this time for 112 to 435. The sanctuary was approved. The Night Stalker, whom Briar named Shadow, became the sanctuary's first resident. Not in a cage, but in an open habitat designed to mimic Zarati's Prime's forests. Dozens of other creatures followed, each one rehabilitated, each one given a chance. And when skeptics visited, when they questioned the wisdom of the project, they found Briar walking the grounds with Shadow padding beside him. 4 meters of apex predators standing guard over the human who'd shown it compassion when no one else would. The galaxy had laughed at his kindness. Now they came to learn from it, because humanity had always known a truth the stars were only beginning to understand. Mercy was not weakness. It was the strongest thing in the universe.